CJ Allen finished with 13 tackles against Florida last week. That is the most tackles he's ever had in a college football game. And I know tackles aren't a great way to talk about how good a football player is. Well, let's take a look at the film and talk about how great of a football player CJ Allen is. In this first clip, I want to talk about the strength that CJ Allen has. Number 13 for Florida, Jadan Baugh. He does a really good job at 230 pounds, kind of picking up yards at the end of runs. You know, where he's dead to rights, he's tackled, but he does a good job falling forward because of how big of a running back he is. Well, when CJ Allen met him in the hole throughout the course of this game, Raylan Wilson as well, they did a good job not letting him pick up those yards. You take a look right here. Right when number 3 impacts Jadan Baugh at the line of scrimmage, that's pretty much all the yards Jadan Baugh picked up. You know, throughout the course of his Florida career, he's done a really good job picking up yards like that. Didn't do that against Georgia, at least not as much as he usually does. CJ Allen also, the diagnosis, and then not only the diagnosis. It's one thing to tell, a patient what's wrong with them. It's another thing to actually prescribe them, and get them better. Well, CJ Allen, first diagnosis, and then he has the prescription as well. Take a look how fast he can see that, Jadan Baugh doesn't have the ball, and then he's just flying to the outside. Right here, this looks like a touchdown. DJ Lagway has an angle into the end zone. He has a blocker in front of him. He's a pretty athletic quarterback, pretty big quarterback as well. Well, DJ Lagway does not look big on this play here just because of how strong of a football player CJ Allen is. But look at the way that he just flies across the field here, completely cuts him off into the end zone, which is one thing. A lot of times this will happen, and DJ Lagway is such a big football player that he's able to bounce off of this. Well, not when you have CJ Allen chasing you down. We got another strength clip on here, and I just want to keep talking about how strong CJ Allen is. And then Jadan Baugh, you see right here, pretty much goes down right where he's tackled. Jadan Baugh, a lot of his rushing yards come up from just continuing to move the pile. Now I want to talk about the change of direction. So really explosive athlete. We saw that before, how he could just kind of diagnose and then has that trigger where he can pull the trigger. This is another good job realizing it's not in Jadan Baugh hands, it's play action. He's going to get after DJ Lagway here, but also the change of direction ability. The hips aren't stiff at all. He can just completely change course and not really lose a beat on this. And he forces an inaccurate pass here. Ends up going for like a yard. This one, there was a couple things going on here, and I just want to talk about Raylan Wilson and how good of a season he's having as well, but also our guy, CJ Allen, you see number 3 on the right, does a good job just, he's out leveraged to his inside here, and he picks up this flat route to the tight end, and doesn't end up going to him, it goes to this wheel route. Man, Raylan Wilson was all over this wheel, and this was perfectly executed by him outside at the end. He's just got to get his head around. They end up calling a PI on this, but this is a very difficult play for Raylan Wilson to get on top of. I thought he played a good game throughout the Florida game as well, so I just wanted to give him some love on here. Just has to get his head around. That's an easy fix, I think. Yeah, and did I talk about the strength yet? This was the recurring theme throughout this game. DJ Lagway is, look at Lagway and Baugh in the backfield right now. It's almost 500 pounds of human in the backfield, 500 pounds of football player in the backfield. Not quite that much, but, DJ Lagway is a big football player, and he just didn't really look like it against this Georgia defense, just especially when CJ Allen was tackling. That's how easy it is. Look how big Lagway's thighs are, and you just wouldn't be able to tell based on the way CJ Allen was bringing him down. And that's one thing, when you're tackling in between the tackles, those big guys. Well, when you get outside of the tackles, there's a lot smaller slot receivers. Trey Wilson, number 3 for Florida, he's a really good football player, but you didn't really see the punishment inflicted on Lagway and Baugh. He did a good job bringing him down. Well, this is where he's going to punish the smaller wide receivers. Just look at how hard of a hit this is on a slot receiver here. This is going to make you think about playing football twice. Make you double think about it when you get tackled like that. And then, of course, the athleticism to even get to the sideline. When I say sideline-to-sideline speed, I think we mean it with CJ Allen. But, yeah, he played a great game against Florida. Please check out we-draft.com. We got a lot of Georgia football players up there. We see Zachariah Branch as well. He had a really good game against Florida. Raylan Wilson's up there. Even underclassman Elijah Griffin. So if you want a place to kind of store all your thoughts on football players, please check that out. Thanks for watching.